Have you ever felt like you're playing a game but you don't actually know the rules? Well, today we're going to unpack a pretty provocative theory that suggests everything, from our schools all the way up to the global economy, is a game with hidden rules designed by just a select few.
So let's start with the puzzle that I think a lot of us can relate to. Schools are, designed to inspire a love of learning. But for so many students, the reality feels, well, totally different.
This image of students in China literally celebrating their liberation from learning, it just captures this deep frustration with the education system. So how does a place that's supposed to make you curious end up doing the exact opposite? I mean, it literally crushes it.
Okay, so to get to the bottom of this, we've got to stop looking at the shiny mission statements and start seeing school for what this theory says it is, a game.
Yeah, on paper, it all sounds amazing, right? Literacy, critical thinking, a love of learning. But the reality? Well, this framework argues the system is actually, and kind of shockingly, designed to achieve the total opposite.
So, how do we make sense of this massive failure? Well, the theory uses something called game theory. And it all boils down to one single, you might say, cynical principle that's secretly driving all of us.
And according to this idea, everyone, and I mean everyone, from students and their parents to the teachers themselves, we're all just players in this game, trying to optimize for ourselves.
Okay, now this is where it gets really, really interesting. Just look at the massive gap between the official interest column and the real interest one. It's huge, right? This theory claims our entire education system isn't built on those nice-sounding official goals at all. Nope, it's built on this. Let's call it a cynical alignment of what everyone really wants.
So, the result of all this isn't some secret backroom conspiracy. It's just the logical, predictable outcome of a game where every single player is following that same basic rule. Get the most for the least. Okay, but this whole idea of winning the game doesn't just stop when the school bell rings. The theory takes this exact same logic and applies it to a much bigger, much more charged topic: immigration. So you look at data like these PISA scores, and it's pretty clear that immigrants from some parts of the world are absolute rock stars at the education game. But, and this is the big question, does winning that game mean you'll win the much larger game of life in a new country?
And the argument here is a tough one. It says that a high salary, well, it doesn't just automatically buy you high status, especially not when it comes to things like climbing the corporate ladder or, say, in the dating world.
And to really drive this status deficit idea home, the theory brings up a pretty shocking study. It claimed an Asian man would have to earn almost 5 times as much as a white man. We're talking $300,000 just to be seen as equally attractive. Wow.
And this quote just cuts right to the heart of what the theory calls the immigration trap. The conclusion is just so stark. If you're playing by the established rules of a game someone else created, you're probably set up to lose.
So what do you do then? What are the options? Well, the framework basically lays out two totally opposite strategies. On one hand, you've got playing by the rules. Head down, work hard, focus on your own individual success inside the system as it is. But on the other hand, you've got breaking the game, which is all about group unity, cultural identity, essentially creating your own set of rules.
All right. So if this whole game theory thing works for schools and for individuals, what happens when we zoom out, like way out, to the level of entire countries? Well, the theory argues that the whole global economic order is basically the biggest game of them all.
Think about it. After World War II, America didn't just help rebuild the world. This theory says it completely redesigned the entire economic game, and it made the US dollar the one crucial piece, the one token that everybody had to have if they wanted to play.
And this slide, this is the rule book for that game. It's a hierarchy, a pecking order. America put itself right at the very top, controlling the money printer, finance. Then it assigned roles to everyone else. China, you do the manufacturing. Russia, you provide the raw materials. It's like a global org chart. And for a long, long time, decades really, this game that America designed worked. It created a pretty stable, predictable world. But, and this is the key point, according to this theory, some of the players are getting tired of their assigned roles. They're starting to flip the whole board over.
Yeah, countries like China and Russia, the ones that were given jobs at the bottom of the pyramid, they're not playing by the rules anymore. They're now challenging the very foundation of the game that America built.
So what's the bottom line here? The big takeaway from this whole theory is that the stable, predictable world order we've all grown up with, it's over. We are now entering what it calls a game reset, a chaotic,
unpredictable time where the new rules are being written as we speak.
And all of this leaves us with one final, and I think really powerful question to think about. If there's even a little bit of truth to this theory, it kind of forces us to look in the mirror at our own lives and ask, what game am I actually playing? And maybe more importantly, who wrote the rules?